Aloha, I'm Cindy Paulos, and this is the Travel Angel Show. And I'm here to talk about my new book, The Travel Angel Handbook, with Deborah Iida, who is a wonderful author and a mentor of mine. She wrote a book called Middle Son. And writing a book is a very interesting process, and I've been learning so much about it. Our conversations we've been having on a weekly basis about writing a book, right?
It's probably a lot more work than the average person who hasn't tackled a book may realize.
It is, and what happens is you get an idea, and it's almost like the birth of something, and you get this seed that wants to grow, and this is what happened with the Travel Angel Handbook. I love to travel, as you know.
Yes, you're gone all the time.
I love to travel,
Yeah.
and for me, it's really, truly just a way to expand your horizons, to see brand new things, to learn, you know, to get inspired. And on one of my trips I took, I was seeing really a huge amount of stress that people were going through. I mean, really, literally, people were freaking out at the airports.
Oh my gosh.
I'd see meltdowns.
Yeah, and that's not like you at all, because a lot of times when you're talking about going on a trip, it's like the next day, you know, and I don't even realize, and you're going somewhere like far, and I find myself really surprised that you're at yoga, and it's the day before the
I
trip.
wouldn't miss my yoga.
Yeah.
Yoga is one of the things I really think people can incorporate into taking a long trip on board an airplane. Very helpful. Yoga is wonderful. I love yoga. I love yoga. It's one of these long flights. I was coming back from Spain, I think, and I had seen people just completely getting obnoxious in long TSA lines. Yes, they were long lines, but this one lady was just completely complaining and yelling at people, and you know, I kind of thought, wow, you know, we have tools that are available to actually help reduce stress. I mean, we're in an age where now some of the principles for relaxation and stress reduction are really second nature to a lot of people. I mean, how many people go to yoga and know how important breathing are? You know, we know that breathing can make a difference. This isn't a brand new concept anymore.
You know, though, when I read your book, one of the things that it really helped me with is I felt like it gave me permission. I knew a lot of things. I had read them perhaps or experienced them in my own life, but one of the really valuable things that you did for me in writing this book is it reminded me that I'm allowed to use those tools, that they are available, and that whether I'm on the plane or at the airport or preparing, especially on the plane, that I am allowed to use them and that they can be such a benefit.
And I'm hoping and praying that when people do feel like you, that it's okay to do this, that more and more people really do it, but kind of keep it hidden, as more people realize that other people are praying or meditating. Or I have this little oil I love. I take this. There's one that is peppermint, really good for, you know, helping to keep the nasal passages clean and clear. This one is rose. And I mean, all you have to do is just breathe it in. It just like smells so beautiful. We know that herbal therapy works, right? I mean, aromatherapy is used all over when you go
You know,
get
that
massages.
smells like roses that I don't get to smell much anymore. Because so often when I go to smell a rose, but that's perfect.
So
Yeah.
you can take little things and little tools like that, and it's not weird, and it really helps to relax you. There is aromatherapy in little oil bottles that you can take with you and breathe in and help. It really does help. I have a lavender mask I wear. It's got lavender in the mask, eye mask. And you know, the eyes go through so much stress when you travel because you're getting dehydrated. When you're flying, we know you get huge dehydration factors. It really affects the eyes. In fact, I really want to remind people, if you're going to be flying, do not wear your contact lenses. All kinds of infections and things can happen with people who wear contact lenses on flights because your eyes get dry, and it can actually scratch your eyes and you can get bacteria and things. So, you know, I also recommend bringing things like eye drops, you know, because your eyes do get stressed out. And there's exercises that even we do in yoga, which really are helpful to do for the eyes, you know, that do get stressed when you're traveling. You have bad light, you have all this dehydration, you have the pressure, and you can do easy to do eye exercises, just circling your eyes in a circle, making rainbows up and down, doing the bottom, going at angles, things to help the eyes to relax that you do and we do in an exercise class and yoga class. So there's in this book I decided, and we talked about this actually before the book came out because you gave me advice in editing, and I decided to not just make it different books with just one subject, but have it all covered in this one book. And so the first chapter I did preparing for your trip, and then one whole chapter on packing, because I have found many people really stress out about packing, and I kind of know what that's about. I hate to admit it, but I'm really bad about trying to decide what to take and not to take, and I usually take more rather than less.
And see, I usually do the opposite, and it's an equal problem. Because when I get to where I'm going, I don't have what I need.
But you can always buy it.
That's true, but that's hard to do, when you have it at home.
You did a trip to Taiwan in a backpack for 3 weeks.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, wow, you're my hero.
Yeah, but I would have liked to have had your list beforehand.
That kind of is taken care of now because you have that 50-pound weight limit, and they charge you so much more if you're over that, it's really good to...
There's real incentive now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I found some tips. What I do is I pre-pack, and I know the things I want to take, and then I have a day or two to think, I don't really like that one. I don't need that one. Then I can thin it out before.
I do that too.
Do you do that?
Yeah, as I'm walking past the suitcase.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of sitting there and I'm going, I don't need that thing. I'll take it out. The other problem people have, and I have, is if you take a big suitcase, there's a tendency to want to fill it.
Oh.
Because there's more space. Oh, I can get one more. I mean, one limitation is you can't pack more than the suitcase can hold. But usually that can be, over 50 pounds. But it's really nice to pack less. And then you can bring things back with you. You can buy things, which is really nice. You have a special thing you buy, and sometimes there's a great sale, and you can bring back gifts. So I have a whole chapter on that, and I really believe that it's important to stay healthy. I think one of the big problems people have traveling is that they get sick. And I don't know about you, but I know even with everything I have sometimes, I mean, you can take a trip and you're in the air for maybe 12 hours at a time, and you land somewhere, the temperature's different, but in that 12 hours on board the plane, you're breathing air that is really not clean, healthy air a lot of times.
I actually get sick almost every time.
Really?
Yes. Certainly I don't feel as well as I did when I left home. And that speaks to the beauty of compiling. When you were speaking earlier about the possibility of making all different books, the beauty of having all this information in one book is that I ended up reading things that perhaps wouldn't have caught my eye if they were alone. So when you have a compendium like this, and if I'm reading the book, I then read the whole book. So it definitely turned out for me that the parts that I did not expect to like were the parts that ended up being the most valuable. So again, if they were separated, I wouldn't have seen them because I wouldn't have even selected that. So the herbal section was a section that I'm pretty unfamiliar with, and I found it helpful.
I keep in my tote bag a couple things that I really find helpful. Rescue Remedy. Have you ever heard of the Bach product, Rescue? They make a whole wonderful selection of healthy products, holistic, natural products. And these are all flower remedies, natural products. This one is to help stress relief. And they're blackcurrant flavor. They've been in business for over 70 years, and it's like, cool, look at, they're just these little, so I take those, and they're nice to eat. They help reduce stress. This is the weirdest tip that really works.
Oh, that's under
well,
here,
because,
right? I remember
we
reading
don't want to wear masks. I mean, talk about looking self-conscious, or people think that you're diseased, right? But it's really easy to pick up. What happens is when you're breathing this dirty air for hours, you can get it in your nasal passages, and that's where you get sick, because you're breathing in nasty stuff. It's a little bit of Vaseline right around your nose, keeps that. It actually blocks that from coming in. Now, what you want to do when you get where you're going, take that out. You don't want that there, you know, even a few hours later. But it really will keep a lot of that. A friend of mine who travels a lot actually told it to me, and I tried it, and it really works. And you can use saline solutions. Have it. This one also is nice. This is silver hydrosol. It's a nasal spray, and it really helps clear your nasal passages of stuff that's nasty that gets in there. And so I definitely use those. And D3, oh my gosh, D3. You know who told me about that? My doctor. When I came back, I got really sick one time on a flight, and God bless his soul, he says, you know, D3 really helps you. I mean, really, and it helps for a variety of things.
Well, you talked, I remember reading in your book about an herbal kit, so that is literally right there, your herbal kit, that you then add a few more things to when you go.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Okay, this is a weird one. This is really a weird one, but it works. You're up in the air, you're expanding. You've seen what happens to water bottles as you're going up. You can really get gas because you're expanding your stomach, and so I take a gas X. It really helps. It really helps. I mean, it sounds like
I hear that
chewable ones.
actually, I know about this because of hiking in Haleakala.
Yes,
the same
thing
thing happens, and I've heard that pilots and stewardesses know all about that. Yes.
It's so helpful to have a little lotion, because you get dehydrated on your body, your hands. You can get like a lavender lotion or some kind of lotion that you can use for your hands to keep yourself from getting dehydrated. And also, it is, if it's lavender or something nice, you can use that to relax you, because lavender is really a useful tool if you're not allergic to it, like you are. But lavender really does help to relax you and ease the stress. That's why I have this lavender and it's nice and soft. I get a good one here. And so this has got lavender in it. It helps to help if you're having problems sleeping too. Really helps to have this, you know, over your eyes. It helps ease the eyes as well.
You know, everything you just went over reminds me of what we talked about earlier, the idea that you have permission to do things. It's about being proactive. And I had this feeling in travel that I just had to put up with whatever circumstances came my way, especially once I arrived at the airport. I felt like I had some control up until that point with what I packed and the preparation with making the travel arrangements. But I really felt that I lost full control upon arrival at the airport. But the ideas in your book, I feel like it gives you back a feeling of control. You can avoid getting sick.
You can. Yes. You can be proactive.
Yes,
you know what?
And that's what you show us.
In a way, the people on board the plane, and they want you to be limited, and they want you to be under control, and I understand it.
Of course.
I mean, here you are, and if you're walking up and down, like, you should exercise every hour on the plane. And, you know, they'll put, and you know this is true, they'll put on fasten seatbelt just because they've got their cart going up and down. They don't want people blocking their cart. Not because it's dangerous to walk. But, I mean, you really should get some exercise, and it's really good to get up and walk. I always get an aisle seat. So, and you know, people get intimidated to get up and walk around because now they say you shouldn't congregate, you know, in certain, by the areas, by the front, by where the pilot is, and where the stewardesses are, and, I'm sorry, flight personnel. But you know what? You have a right to get up and walk, and you shouldn't be intimidated into doing.
I've been on one trip since I one over the ocean kind of trip since I first read your book, and I did it. You know,
get up and walk.
But I'm very polite.
Yes, yes.
I'm never.
You are.
I'm very polite, and I, you know, definitely did not want to get in the way of any of the flight personnel. I didn't even want to get in the way of the cart or anything. But there turned out to be a lot of opportunities where the seatbelt light was off, the aisles were clear, and really I got nothing but smiles from all of them.
That's
when I,
wonderful.
went up and down.
Yeah.
And I was in that one little area where I could do up and down on my
Toes.
toes.
Good exercise.
I even got my arms into the
Did you
air.
have the nerve to lean over and touch?
I actually did.
Okay.
And it
'Cause the
kind
one
of
thing you can
grew.
do- It's so good. What I'm talking about
Yes.
is you can actually lean over and just touch your, in yoga. You do that. You lean over and you touch the ground. It's such good exercise because blood goes to your head. Everything gets flowing. The pressure comes off your back. It helps your lower back. And you can stand up and do a little exercises, just bringing your hips around in a circle and going around in a circle. Really good because you're sitting in a seat where you are not really sitting right. And the worst thing to add to that is people are using their computers, they're reading, they're doing things with their neck is out, and so you're out of alignment with your body.
Well, for those of us that are short, the
Seats
bulge
don't
in the
fit.
back, they don't fit
They
at
don't.
all. So I'm forced to lean forward because it pushes me forward right in the wrong place. And I look with envy at the taller people because I see where they hit, and I know that it's slightly more comfortable. But yes, some of us are, we're forced forward in the way the seats are.
Yeah.
And they're
Well,
just,
the worst
they're
thing
not
too is
comfortable.
if you're getting big people on either side of you and you don't even have the room to put your arms out. You have to put your arms out. When you do this, you're forcing your shoulders into an uncomfortable position rather than down. So it's really important to stretch out your body at some time. And you can do a lot in your seat.
I really did.
Did you?
Yes, I did. I used some of them. Now, I knew a lot of them.
From yoga.
And from just learning them along the way in life. So I knew a lot of them. They just reminded me, you just reminded me, first of all, to do them. And also the specificity of them in your book. I was able to specifically kind of hone in on body parts. And then there were a few that I had never heard of. I believe there was one, I remember that there was one where I was leaning back against pushing back. I've never done that. That works.
Doesn't it?
Yes. And
You
I had
just
never,
circle your back and actually push the center of your back.
I think the center, that's what it was.
And then you do the opposite. It's like a cat-cow while you're sitting. And that really feels good because what happens is you do this and then you release it by going back. And you go back and forward and back and forward. And you can do that, and it's not really too obtrusive. People will understand. You can always say, "Oh, I'm reading a book." It's all about doing that, and you can blame the travel angel. But I think the most important thing, really, of all that stuff to do is breathing. Breathing is so key. I have this wonderful Zen friend. He's a Zen master, and he does calligraphy. And he years ago did this calligraphy. It says, breath sweeps mind. And it always stuck with me. It's so simple. You can remember breath sweeps mind, but it works. And breathing really helps to reduce your stress.
So you don't feel at all that, I get a little nervous with deep breathing in a plane because the air doesn't feel that clean to me.
Well, if you're doing the other and using peppermint really helps, is very cleansing. And you can breathe in peppermint. But you know what? Just that fear of breathing deep is going to cause more stress and cause more disease, actually, because you're not getting as much oxygen
already to begin with.
Just to begin with. And also because you're breathing in a shallow way, because you are subconsciously nervous that by breathing that you're going to get more sick.
I'm like counting the people around me, and thinking I'm breathing in all of that air. But like you say, the air itself is cleansing.
Not
to your
only
body.
that, when you're doing even the alternate nostril breathing, when you breathe in, you could hold it for a second. Breathing out should actually act like a vacuum cleaner in a way. Just breathe. Oh, you don't want a vacuum cleaner breathe. It'd be actually blowing the air, blowing anything out in your nostrils that isn't good. Just think of it as exhaling anything negative. You can even have that thought, I'm breathing out anything that isn't healthy out of my nose, out of my nasal passages. And breathing in, there's two really easy to do exercises that are guaranteed to work. You breathe in, you hold for a count of 5. And when you're not breathing, you're not thinking. So if you're worried, if you just breathe in and hold for a count of 5, and then breathe out, just relaxing, letting any stress go, again, holding for a count of 5, you immediately change your thought patterns. If you just did that when you were under stress or worried, just that exercise, just being conscious of your breath alone, will really make a difference if you're starting to get into what I say, a spin. I don't mean literally a plane spin, but your mind can go into spin when you get worried about, let's say, oh my gosh, we're starting to get some air turbulence, and you start to freak out. You can just breathe in, hold your breath, breathe out, do some alternate nostril breathing. Really, really works. I also have wonderful meditations you can do in here, positive thinking tips, affirmations, prayers, which really can help, because you know what, if you feel like you're praying, in 2 ways it works. Your mind is directed off your worry. Your mind is like a computer, and if you give your mind something positive to do, like reading a positive thing, it's not going to be worrying about the negative thing. And we all know from hearing Wayne Dyer and many others for years, what you think, you actually are creating more of the reality. So the more you worry about something, the more chance it is actually to be negative and affect you negatively. The more you direct your mind towards something positive, the more positive things happen to you. So it's the Travel Angel Handbook, and it's got it all in here. I have it in 2 forms. I did it backwards, as you probably know. I told you. First I thought, well, I'll just make it an ebook. And it's only $4.99 as an ebook. But then I found, a lot of people still don't have ebooks.
Count me in.
Yeah.
I still don't have one.
I was shocked how many people don't. So, and then I thought, it is kind of nice to I like still to be able to thumb through a book too. So it took a little more money and time, but I have it as a book, and it's available on Amazon. Any of the Barnes & Noble has it. It's available as an ebook, as an actual book you can order. And I have it all at the travelangel.com. It's my website, has information. It has my blog. It also has the radio show, because I've been doing a radio show.
Yes, with wonderful guests.
Really great guests. And so all of the shows that I have are actually on the travelangel.com, interviews with all kinds of different people from all over the world. And so I'm also going to be putting extra things on there for people to download for free, little meditations they can do and things such as that. So the goal isn't really to make money with this one. The goal is to really try to help people have a better air travel experience, and to not freak out, and to have I guess it can be a security blanket. It's your little security blanket, or your teddy bear to take with you on a plane. But it's there to really, hopefully, make a difference. And I really think if even just like 1 or 2 people are doing this per plane, that you'll feel the difference. The people will be in a better state. The energy vibrations will be different. You'll actually feel and sense a difference. And if a few people get this, I really hope it'll make their experience better. So I want to thank you, Deborah.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
It's
always good
time.
to see you.
It's wonderful to talk with you. I really enjoy speaking with you, and I appreciate all the support you always give to writers and to me. And I really look forward to sharing more about this experience with you.
I hope we do.
And a big aloha.